This is now imported from that program, and I didn't use the outside keystone because I'm not going to be cutting that. I'm only going to be cutting this in yellow. And then you have to do what's called weed it out. All these areas in here in between, you have to peel them out so it leaves just the lettering and the outside edging. This is all going to be blank inside here. And then you paste this onto a red, piece of vinyl, and then I'm going to just take an X-Acto knife and very carefully cut all around it to get the red shape. Now I'm going to be using these on my passenger cars because some of the Pullmans had one in each corner. So I'm going to be doing that a little bit different. Carl wanted this is going to be wind up to be 3 inches. And by the way, this point to this point, I'll use something to point with. This point to this point right here is the same from this point to that point. It's optical illusion. And according to the drawing I have, this is say 10 inches, and then these are all pieces or parts of that. So this is 2.5 parts, or 2 1/4 inches, or 2.5 inches. If you make this 10 inches across, that's how I drew it. I drew it exactly 10 parts, which would be 10 inches by 10 inches, and I drew everything according to what the drawing said back there when I showed you before. Anyhow, that's it. Now I'm ready to cut it. I'm going to click on up here. There's a little cutter icon. It comes up. That's the cutter. That shows a picture of a cutter here, and then that's the cutter, and that's going to cut this. Now this blue line you see here, that's just the area that it's going to cut on the vinyl. Now the black line you see, that's what's called a weeding area. So you're not going to, this is all the piece of vinyl, you're not going to waste all this vinyl. You're going to it's going to cut a square around it, and you peel that square off and you save the rest of this vinyl, cut other things with it. And there's of course ways to do that and stuff I'm not going to get into now. But this is the area that's going to cut in. And I'm going to show you now. I'm going to go over on the cutter, but I'm not going to cut. I'm going to plot so you can see it. All right, now I've got a piece of cardboard in there, paper, just a piece of heavy typing paper, and there's pinched in here. There's pinch rollers, and then there's a roller that the computer tells it which way to go, and the carriage goes in and out. And this right here is an ink pen, and it has to go up and down because it changes, different places. It picks up, moves, and so on, just like any printer. Alright, now I'm going to go over to the computer, tell it to plot out this keystone. There we go. Okay, that's it. Alright, there it is. I don't know if you can see it. And that's plotted on a piece of paper with a pen. But now I'm going to cut it onto the actual vinyl. And then you have to weed it out and so on and paste that on the red or blue, whatever color you want, and then continue that, say you make multiple layer logos. Now, like I said, there's a way to do that. In other words, you would have witness marks in the corners, and then you would glue that onto the red vinyl, trace it all down, put the red vinyl in the machine with the yellow on it, and there's a laser on there that would pick up the 4 corners, register it, and then print out the other keystone around the outside, cut the keystone out in the red to follow to register it. So now what I'm going to do is just take a Lumber 11 X-Acto blade with a nice straight edge and very carefully cut it, or cut it with a scissors or whatever. Just cut it out and do it the same way that way. And then of course you peel that off, stick that on the black, because that's what Carl, my friend Carl, wants it on the black. I'm going to keep it just the red and the yellow. He wants it on the black, so put it on the black, and then he can cut out the black and then glue the whole thing onto his locomotive. I find a lot of usages for this. You could actually paint this on if you want, or you can make a lot of different things. I can put this on what's called a heat film, and if I buy a press, I can press it onto a shirt, make my own custom shirts, and do a lot of different things. But I always wanted to do it. I always wanted to own a plotter. I have one now, and I plan on making a lot of different things for my locomotives and my projects. Hopefully it's been helpful, and I guess, like Jack says, we'll see you in the funny papers. That's all for now.